Welcome to the Health by Haven podcast. I'm your host, Haven Quinlan. If you're a multi-passionate wellness enthusiast, then you're in the right place. I'm obsessed with learning as much as I can about the wellness world, and I want to share that with you. Each episode will dive into various aspects of health and wellness through inspiring and informative guest interviews with some solo episodes thrown in. Tune in for all things health, and let's have some fun, shall we? Hello, everyone. Happy almost New Year's Eve. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a Merry Christmas. If you celebrate, we had a great one here in Tennessee between my family and Billy's family. We had lots of relaxing, lots of family time, lots of games, all the things that Christmas brings, lots of reading and cozy puppy snuggles. So I hope you guys had a really nice holiday, relaxing time with family and friends. I love this time of year, this week between Christmas and New Year's. I think it's so fun to have a good mixture of lazing around, reading, being cozy, not knowing what day it is, and also reflecting back on the year past and getting excited for what the new year has to come. So I wanted to do this little solo episode to round out the year of podcasting for the Health by Haven podcast 2024. It's a little Mod Podge of things. So I'll do a little personal recap, a recap of the podcast for this year. Season 1 will officially be back for season 2 next week in the new year. And then talk a little bit about some goals and things coming up for the Health by Haven podcast and otherwise. And then talk to you guys a bit about how to set some achievable New Year's goals, intentions, resolutions, however you like to call it. So if you're interested in any of that, hang on for the ride. If not, go back, listen to some of the guest episodes if you missed any. There are plenty of amazing ones to choose from. Okay, let's start with a quick little personal recap. So if you guys have been following along for a while, I always write a end of year recap blog post on healthbyhaven.com. And this is honestly just a little bit of a selfish endeavor to be able to go back and look at my year and see, everything that's happened and then get to reflect back on other years as well. So this week I always spend time reading back through past years as well. And it's really fun to see all the things I did that year and, how far I've come and how different life is. So I would really encourage you guys to do that, even if you're not writing, a full-on blog post. If you do a little recap, think about each month. This can be a really fun thing to do with your family or your friends. Kind of talk through each month. I like to go through my camera roll to jog my memory of all the things that I've done each month of the year. So here's my little recap for 2024 personally. So January, I ran the Houston Marathon. This was my marathon PR, 1 hour, that would be hilarious. Okay, 3 hours, 31 minutes and 45 seconds. This was a huge PR for me, 22-ish minute PR, which is significant for a marathon. I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of that performance. Billy and I flew to Houston. We ran the 5K the day before, and then I ran the marathon, and I'm really proud of it. I also still have mixed emotions about it. If you guys have followed along on my Instagram since then, I posted all about it. You can go back and read, but I had a really big goal for that I wasn't really publicizing, but that I really wanted to get my Boston qualifier time for that race. And if you know anything about running, females in my age group, the Boston qualifier time was 3 hours and 30 minutes. So I very narrowly missed that standard by 1 minute and 46 seconds, which felt like crushing. I'm not going to lie. But I've since, had some time to reflect and be separate from that. And I just know that it's a goal that will continue to fuel my upcoming races. If you don't know, you do have to time qualify to run Boston. That's the main way to get in. There are a few exceptions, but That's a big goal for me. It'll be a goal this year as well. Whether or not I hit it, we'll just have to see. My time for my age group knocked down another 5 minutes for the next year's qualifying because so many people want to run it. So that's a big jump, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do. Okay, February, I went to Iceland. That was my first time in that country. So that was super exciting. It is beautiful, the landscape. I mean, I think it's the prettiest natural landscape I've ever seen in my life. Like, not cityscape. I think that's Paris in my mind, but Iceland is stunning. We saw all the glaciers and the snow and the volcanoes and the northern lights. So that was amazing. And then in February, I also partnered with another female-founded business, Seams by Seamly, and brought you some Health by Haven merchandise for the first time. So that was really cool to see those ideas come to life. In March, most notable thing, Billy and I went to Asheville for the weekend, kind of a little mini spring break trip for him, which we love to go there and do all the brewery tours and be in the mountains. So that was a lot of fun. April, I ran the Knoxville Marathon. This was my second time running the course in person, third time if you count the COVID year. This was not a PR. First time I ran a marathon and didn't PR. It was my fifth marathon. It's got to happen at some point, right? But the day before, Knoxville Track Club hosted a shakeout run and brought in Des Linden, who is a two-time Olympian and just an outstanding athlete. She's somebody I really look up to. I've read her book and listened to her podcast, and it was so surreal getting to meet her and run with her. And now I can say I've run with an Olympian because I'm definitely as fast as her. At the end of April, Billy and I flew up to New York City for me to run the Real Simple Women's Half Marathon. This is my first New York Roadrunners race, and it was 2.5 loops through Central Park, which is my favorite place in the whole world to run. It was so much fun. I think this is my favorite race I've ever run. I had a great day. I PR'd the half by several minutes, which I'm really proud of. So that's still my half PR, 1 hour, 42 minutes, and 17 seconds. And it's a women's race. So I was surrounded by all these powerful female athletes. It was so much fun. And then we got to, explore the city for a few days. In May, I traveled to South Carolina and I met my friend Hannah's little baby, her second child. So that was so special. And then when I was back in Knoxville, two of my very, very best childhood friends, Georgie and Savannah, came into town for one of our family friends' wedding. And we all got to spend time together. And that was just a really special time. So lots of fun. And then halfway through May, we moved to New York City. It still sometimes doesn't feel real. It's somewhere I've always wanted to live, and it was incredible. Did not let me down at all. We packed in so much stuff in New York this summer, starting with a visit from my brother, Jake. Throughout June and July, we packed it as well. So tons of run clubs. That was one of my favorite things about the city. You could go join a different run club every single morning for a group run. You never had to go solo if you didn't want to. I also launched the Health by Haven podcast in June, which is one of my proudest accomplishments of the year for sure. It's been just so much fun to chat with different people about something I'm so passionate about, in the hopes that you guys as listeners are learning from them, are feeling inspired and motivated, or maybe you're just getting some entertainment, but it's been a lot of fun. I also raced the New York Roadrunners MasterCard New York Mini 10K. It's a women's race. That was through Central Park, really fun. And I took my first in-person Peloton class with Bex Gentry, my favorite running instructor. I recapped both of those experiences on the podcast in episode 3, if you want to go back and hear more about that. I also took an in-person Melissa Wood health class, which is another fitness instructor I've really looked up to for a long time. So it was really cool to take her class in person. I talk about that in episode 5. And then Billy and I ran the Queens 10K, which is a New York Roadrunners race. And we chatted all about that in episode 6. June and July, I taught Pure Barre in New York City. I mean, come on, what a dream. And then 4th of July weekend, we had a visit from our friends Hope and Timothy up in New York City, which was so much fun to get to show them around and do lots of things that weekend. July, I also took my first Peloton spin class, and I took a ton of other workout classes too. That was something that was so much fun for me this summer, was to get to try out some classes that are only offered in New York, or at least aren't offered near where I live now in Knoxville. So lots of that, lots of run crews, lots of New York Roadrunners races. I recap some of those studio experiences in episode 7. So if you're planning to make a trip to the city, or if you live there and you're interested, you can go back and listen to that one. And then we did all the New York things: Yankees games, Broadway shows, museums, walks and runs with Waffles, our dog, on the West Side Highway. So lots of fun. And then we finished out July with a visit from my youngest brother, Milo, before moving back to Knoxville in August. Mixed emotions about that, of course. I love New York City, but we are happy to be coming back to family. And I came back to the Pure Barre Knoxville and Farragut studios, which are near and dear to my heart as lead teacher, which is also just so crazy to think about. When I started teaching like 5.5 years ago now, being lead teacher these last several months, that has been really special to get to work with our incredible team and help with training new instructors and developing our team's teaching. Then my brother Jake's girlfriend Liz visited from Germany, which was so much fun. They've been dating for many years, and I've met her on FaceTime a bunch, but it was great to actually get to meet her in person. And so Liz, if you're listening, we miss you. Jake actually is flying to Germany today to visit her, so I told him to send a hug. Now, in September, Billy and I went to Kentucky for a work trip for me, and we got to be a part of a small selection group that selected a Gamecock 1801 bourbon, which was really cool because we're both very into bourbon. So that was a Maker's Mark bourbon that'll be coming out in the new year. And we also went to Johnson City in September for the Bluegrass Half Marathon. And we talk about that in episode 22. It did get postponed because of the hurricane, but Billy and I ran it together just by ourselves that weekend since we were already up there, and it was his first half marathon. So you can hear him talk all about that experience, but it was really, really fun to do that together. In October, I completed the Fall Fit Challenge at Pure Barre. That's 30 classes in 60 days. And it's been a lot of years since I actually prioritized doing that for myself, and I'm really proud of it. It's not easy all the time to get yourself into class. So it was a lot of fun to get to check that off of my list of things. And then Billy celebrated his 30th birthday. So we went back to ETSU for a football game. We went to dinner. And then the big birthday celebration was a trip to Greece and Turkey. We took a cruise. It was 9 nights, and it was just stunning. I mean, the history is really like unfathomable to think about how old some of those buildings are, and the natural beauty is amazing. The Aegean Sea is just the bluest, clearest water I've ever seen. So that was very special. In November, I ran the Cades Cove Loop Lope race with my family. We all recapped that in episode 27. Such a fun time to get moving with family members. And then the Bluegrass Half Marathon in Johnson City was rescheduled for the following weekend. So Billy and I went back up there, ran that race in person. So it was kind of his first half with all the pomp and circumstance. And I'm only slightly bitter at how fast he was so soon in his running journey. He did amazing. So I'm really proud. And then the next week we went back to Johnson City for Thanksgiving. We ran the turkey trot there and then had a delayed Thanksgiving with my family. Which brings us to December. I went to the Pure Barre Exponential Fitness Convention in Las Vegas with my friend Rachel, who owns the Pure Barres here. That was just such a fun experience to get to be surrounded by people who do fitness full time and are so passionate about helping people live out their best lives and healthiest lives. And so it was a lot of fun, very invigorating. And then ended the year just cozy Christmas here in Johnson City between my family and Billy's family. So thanks for indulging me on that little recap. I know that was really more for me than everyone else, but I'm looking forward to being able to look back and listen back on this in the years to come. Now, just a note on that. That, of course, is a quick snippet, highlight reel of things that have happened. There have been plenty of days that have not been fun, not been exciting, have been hard, have been tough. There have been tears. Everyone's human. And some of those things I don't want to talk about publicly. People don't need to advertise everything if they don't want to. And just keep that in mind when, this week is going to be full of everybody's recap posts on Instagram, their shiny lives, everything's perfect, but there's hard stuff too in everyone's life and you don't know what's going on, behind the scenes for people. So keep that in mind. Try not to compare your real life to people's shiny Instagram highlights. Okay. That was all the personal recap. Now, for the podcast recap, this is the 34th episode of the year, and this will wrap up season 1 of the podcast. We've had 24 guest episodes, and this will be the 10th solo episode. Hoping to have a lot more guest than solo next year, so you guys can hear from different people and learn from different people. Overall, there have been 1,469 downloads, which does not include just episode plays that weren't downloaded. So just a reminder, the importance of setting your auto downloads on your app, whether you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. When you subscribe, it doesn't automatically download the episodes. So if you click auto download, that actually does make such a huge difference for the show stats, for me being able to track what's resonating with people, to show potential guests on the show, different stats, so we can get even more people with more knowledge to come on the show and share with you guys for free. So that would just mean so much to me. But really, really happy with that number. 17 countries. You guys are listening in 17 countries, which is so wild to me. The top 5. So number 5, United Kingdom, 4, France, 3, Sweden, 2, Germany, and of course the US, number 1. No surprises there since I am US based. And you guys have listened from 241 different cities, which also just seriously blows my mind. So thank you. Top 5 cities: Maryville, Tennessee. Thank you to my parents and my brothers and any family friends listening there. Shout out. Charlotte, North Carolina is number 4. Number 3, Columbia, South Carolina. Number 2, New York, New York. And number 1, Knoxville, Tennessee. So thank you guys so much. Top 5 episodes. Coming in at number 5 was episode 12, Megan Canella, on finding the movement you love and tips for fitness instructors. Episode number 4 was episode 20 with Emily of Tasty as Fit on running her healthy grab-and-go storefront. Episode number 3 is episode 8, Rachel Renner, who owns the Pure Barres here, Knoxville and Farragut. Coming in at number 2 is episode 11, Goodness with G, Georgia Perkins on nutrition, health coaching, and content creation. And then coming in at the top downloaded episode is episode number 23, Hannah Brooke Wellness on functional lab testing. So I just loved digging into all those stats. Of course, those are all just downloads. So if you guys are listening and not downloading, it's not including that in these recaps, but really cool to see where you're listening and what your favorite episodes and topics are. So Thank you guys so much for listening. Keep it up. Share with your friends. I love to hear from you guys. I love to see when you're listening, where you're listening, all of that. Okay, some goals for 2025 and just personal happenings, things. Goals for Health by Haven for the next year. I'd love to have at least 35 of the 52 episodes be guest episodes. I don't want to just be talking at you guys all the time. I'm sure you're probably tired of my voice by now. So I think you can learn so much from people's different perspectives. So I'm really excited. I already have the first 3 for January lined up with really exciting guests. I want to keep continuing to post that Monday podcast episode every single Monday next year. Maybe I'll get some bonus ones as well, but that is the goal. I'd love to do a refresh of my website so that it's easier for y'all to navigate to recipes and articles and things, my coaching program. So hopefully that's to come partway through the year. My goal is to keep posting on the Health by Haven Instagram for you all to provide other free resources. So the goal is 5 times a week, whether you're getting some motivation for running or fitness, or whether you're getting some new recipes that you can use, or hearing about the new podcast episodes coming up. That is a place I love connecting with you guys and offering some free content for you to help along your wellness journeys. And then last big goal for Health by Haven for next year is to start a Health by Haven Pinterest account, just so you guys can have easy recipe pinning. So you can go back. I know stuff gets lost in Instagram. I save like 10 million things and then I rarely go back to them. So you're not alone if you do that. But my goal is to start that Pinterest page that'll link to my recipes as well. So it's just easier for you guys to get to and make those healthy meals for you and your family and friends. Okay, last little segment for today, and then we're wrapping things up. How to set achievable New Year's intentions. And I wrote an article about this back in 2022. You can find it on healthbyhaven.com if you want to go back and reference it, but I'll be kind of using that as a guideline here. I know some people are really big into goal setting. Some people hate it. There's all those stats about how New Year's resolutions are abandoned after like 10 or 12 days in the new year. So I want to help you guys really set those attainable, achievable goals. And so the first step for that is to pick just a handful of attainable goals, like just a few. I know we all want to go all in and make this massive laundry list of like 50 things we're going to change all on January 1st, but that is just not attainable. So if you start with a handful of smaller things that you can really prioritize, you're going to be so much more likely to achieve those. And it's kind of like a snowball effect too, right? When you see yourself like checking off those goals, it makes you more motivated to get your other ones done as well. Number 2, write down your goals. So you can't just think all these things and wish for them to happen. Write them down. And this goes hand in hand with number 3, make a plan. So write it, dream it, and then make those steps into how you're actually going to achieve it. Break it down into little bite-sized chunks so it's not too overwhelming. Now, make sure you're sharing your goals, your intentions with your loved ones, because that can really help you stay on track when the days get hard and you're not feeling motivated. They can help remind you, this is something that was really important to you. Maybe you guys can do it together. It's a really fun way to reach those goals with somebody you love. And then know your why. So why are you setting those goals? Are you setting them because somebody else thinks it's a good idea? Then you're not going to stick to them. Think about what's actually important to you so that days when it's hard, it helps you keep going. And lastly, I love this one, put little motivational quotes everywhere or make yourself a vision board, which I really love. I have a whole separate article about how to make a vision board if you guys are interested, but this is something that I think is so fun to do at the new year. I do it on Canva, but you could do it physical print copy as well. Is to save, I like to save a bunch of images that speak to me and the goals and the feelings that I want to have in the new year. Make a Pinterest board, pin all these images, then kind of narrow them down, import them into Canva, create a collage that you can print out or that you can have, like I have one on my laptop wallpaper. You could have it on your phone wallpaper, just little reminders of what the vision for your life for the next year is to help keep you motivated to achieve those goals. Okay. Hope this was a fun episode. Hope you guys are interested in some of those stats from the podcast, some things to come, and then how to create those achievable goals for your new year. I love hearing your guys' goals. If you have a vision board, I want to see it. If you have a word of the year, I want to know it. You guys, please message me on Instagram, text me. If you know me, let me know. I love hearing this stuff. I could talk about it all day. So, best of luck for your goals in the new year. I know you guys are going to do great. I cannot wait to bring you so many more exciting guests on a variety of health and wellness topics and everything in between in the new year. Thank you all so much for listening, for sharing, for rating, reviewing. It means so much to me. I really hope you guys are enjoying this. That is why I'm doing it. And so I can't wait for more to come in the new year. Happy New Year. Talk to you guys next week. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Health by Haven podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to give the show a 5-star rating and leave a review. It makes such a huge difference in reaching new people and spreading the joy of healthy living. I would also be so appreciative if you subscribe to the show in the listening app of your choice so you never miss an episode. Your support truly means the world to me. Have a happy, healthy day, and I'll talk to you again soon.